Thank you. I am so flustered right now, so upset that I didn't even realize that I forgot to change the mic settings. You've just been listening to Yoshi's Island music this whole time. Yeah, so hey, I'm the Metal. Welcome to the Vomitorium. It's been an awful day. Just a god-awful day. The most recent thing that's been awful was that I tried running the stream on time 15 minutes ago when it's supposed to start, but my computer decided it didn't want to. And I think it might actually be connected to the other thing that was awful today. Because I think while I was trying to start the stream, out of nowhere, Steam tried to start re-downloading a game I just deleted. I think that was part of the problem. And it just threw my computer haywire. And I was getting like no bandwidth. We dropped like 50% of all of the frames. Discord started dying. Like everything was just bad. Everything was bad. I had to kill everything, restart my computer. I'm gonna have to go and fix the like notification stuff and all that, or the information for today's stream later. Kill off the failed one at the beginning. But I'm here. We're still powering through. We're doing things. Originally, I was going to be happy today. We were going to talk about wonderful things, not awful. But I've had a pretty bad day. You're all going to hear it. So, the thing that might be related to why my computer messed up at the start of the stream, other than the fact that it's an aging computer, so we expect hiccups and stuff every now and then. But the reason as to why Steam started re-downloading something that I just deleted came to the fact that I wanted to get back into Phantasy Star Online 2. I really like Phantasy Star Online 2. It's a great MMO. It's probably one of my favorite MMOs I've ever played. I think it's probably one of the best MMOs I've ever played. Highly recommended for people who've never played it. But one thing I can't recommend about it at all is how godforsaken their account credential system is and how syncing things works if you want to be able to continue with your old account. And I remember having troubles with this back in, I don't know, maybe it was 2020, whenever the Steam version came out, which may have been like a year or two after it was localized to the United States and other English-speaking countries in the first place by Microsoft. But when the Steam version came out, a lot of us wanted to switch to Steam because that is just our preferred store for handling our games. And I had already been playing for a while over on the Microsoft store. So it's like, oh, what do I need to do to switch to Steam? Can I just log in? I don't have a login for this game. This game doesn't have a login. How would I connect them? So you go and you look, and there's just like this complicated account syncing method, this account linking method to play Phantasy Star Online 2 on a different service. You have to go to the version of the game that you started playing with to get a code, like an encrypted password type thing, that will let the system know that this is the account. And you have 15 minutes to take this code and put it into the new version of the game that you want to play on, which will then tell the system, these are the same account. You only get one shot at this. If you make a new account by mistake, you just have a new account instead. It's a really stupid system. What was really stupid is the fact that since both of these were on the same device, these were both PCs, I had to simultaneously have two copies of this like 100 gigabyte game on my computer at the same time when I was doing this back in the day. Pissed me off. I wasn't the only one who went through it. I was living with Buck at the time. He was playing the game. He went through it too. We were really mad. So we fast forward to now. I was like, hey, is there a better, more powerful device that I have access to that I can play Phantasy Star Online 2 on? There's a PS4 version. I didn't know there was a PS4 version. It must have come out sometime after it was added to Steam. It's like one of the last things it was added to. But you can play PS4 games on the PS5. The PS5 is pretty powerful, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go play Phantasy Star Online 2 on the PS5. And then it was recurring to me, I remember the account linking thing, so I wanted to make sure I didn't start up, because there was no way I'd be able to get it on there if I had already started a new character on the PlayStation. And I go and install the Steam version, because I'm thinking, okay, it shouldn't matter which version of the game I use to sync my account, should it? No, I don't think it should. So I go and I re-download it on Steam. Took me an hour and a half to download because it's a pretty big game. Boot it up. I try to link my account, and immediately I get a notification that says you can't issue an account linking code. You need to go to the version you first started this account on. So I wasted an hour and a half of my life downloading that game to try to uninstall the game. Now, to re-download off the Microsoft Store later. Of course, I can't do it now because, well, I had a show to run and I didn't have enough time to re-download it. I only had like maybe half an hour before the show. So that's something I would have to do later. But then we got back to problem 2, where one of the things I noticed as my computer was dying when I first tried to start the show this evening was I noticed Steam started re-downloading Phantasy Star Online 2. I did not ask you to download Phantasy Star Online 2, Steam. I told you to uninstall it, delete it. You shouldn't be starting to install it again on your own. So yeah, that's why my evening's been pretty bad. I don't know why you would create your account system this way. I think I know how it functions. I think I've deduced it. I have a theory. I have a hypothesis of how this functions. Is Portal the same as Crash Bandicoot? What? I'm going to say definitively no. And I don't know why they would be the same. Maybe the most recent one has portals that connect people through a multiverse, but in functionality, the games are nothing alike. So, no. That was a rhetorical question. Well, you shouldn't ask rhetorical questions in my chat. That is a warning, but that is something I will time people out for, because the chat is for engagement purposes only, whether it's with me or other people in the chat. Doesn't have to be directly with me. It could be with other people in the chat. But anyway, so the reason I think they decided to make it function this way is that I'm pretty sure the way, it's because they don't have a login service at all for this game, is I'm pretty sure your account credentials are the license file for the game, right? So every game digitally that you boot up, I guess technically physically too, because the disk counts as a license in that case. There's probably a file on there just so these things all function the same way. When you have a game, your account gets associated with a license file. It'll be a file that has like your account number for whatever service you're using, whether it is Steam, it'll have your Steam account on it, whether it's PlayStation, whatever. Doesn't matter. You get a license file made for the game, shows you own the game, whether it's a free-to-play game or not. It's just how these things have to work. I think that your account credentials in Phantasy Star Online 2 is your game license, which is why it's associated with an account, like your Steam account, your Microsoft account, whatever. And the reason they send you this account syncing password is basically they have to give you like an encrypted password that doesn't last very long to be able on their end to associate these two different license files together. That's how I think it works. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Not that it makes sense that you would make your system this way, just make a login service for your MMO like literally everyone else does. But I'm pretty sure that's how it has to work for any of this to work at all. I will get back into Phantasy Star Online too. But man, are they making me work for it. Work for it hard. The game deserves it, though. It is that good of a game. It is in fact that good of a game. That I don't feel like I should have to work this hard for it. Oh. So I hope everybody else is having a better evening than I am. I don't, I don't wish my petty problems on anyone, or worse, you know. If your night has to be bad, hopefully your problems are as first world and, you know, irrelevant as mine are. Second day of overtime in a row. Well, at least you're getting that overtime pay. Overtime sucks, but at least the pay is nice, right? I can't wait to get back into Phantasy Star Online 2, though. I think of modern MMOs, which I guess you could probably call it a modern MMO. It's an MMO of the 10s. So I guess maybe there are things that are more modern, things that exist in the 20s already. But for a modern-ish MMO, it's got a part of it that came out in like 2020, which was New Genesis. Or was it I don't remember actually when it came out. Sometime after 2020. I think it's probably one of the best ones running. It's free to play, but they're not stingy about being free to play because they know that they can afford to have the entire game run entirely off of the cosmetic shops. In fact, they have a gacha system that for cosmetics if you want to engage in that, or you could just buy a lot of stuff directly. Free housing. The gameplay itself is really nice. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful game. I haven't gotten too far into New Genesis either, and that's the part that I think I'm really excited to get into. I played, I think maybe the first 6 months of it before, like, I just stopped. I remember I ended up maybe moving again or whatever. There was a lot of things that made me stop playing the game, but I didn't get too far. I didn't like it as much as the first one, though, because it was an open world game. And, you know, I was also playing Genshin at the time and a few other things. I was kind of burnt out on open world. And the open world aspects at the time were not as cool as the base version of Phantasy Star Online 2, with the hub world, the dropping into dungeons, running them with people and stuff. I thought that was the cooler portion of it. But it's a lot further along. It's a lot more developed. I would like to see where it's going. I will probably end up going back and mostly playing the original version of the game, though. Especially because I have a max level character there. But that's it. That's my problems today. I'll probably stop talking about those now. I originally was going to start talking about holiday cheer, I guess. Something related to that. I was going to talk about animations as well, mostly indie animation. I don't know if anybody saw Punch Punch Forever put out a short little Christmas special the other day. I dropped in the Discord. Anybody, whoever wants to see the type of stuff that I'm into, I drop whatever I'm watching in our Vomitorium Discord channel, maybe if I'm even listening to music all the time. Not absolutely everything that I watch, but a lot of the stuff I do drop in there. And I thought it was a fun little animation. I love Punch Punch Forever. It's probably one of the most fun indie series on the internet right now by Speederoo. And if you haven't ever seen it, we've talked about it on the channel before. It is a mock vintage anime cartoon about a little girl who has to fight in like a tournament arc against the devil's army, you know. one after each other, different bad guys each time. Almost a Mortal Kombat sort of thing. And it's just hilarious. It's in Japanese entirely, despite the fact that it's made by English speakers. What I would really like from Punch Punch Forever 2 is after a season or whatever he feels the end of the series should be happens, I would like Speedroo to then go back and do like an intentionally really bad localized version of the series, since it's already a parody series anyway, to be able, just to make fun of localization. That would be pretty cool. I think it would fit the series a lot. Also, wow, I just noticed that I left the music like really high. This is how bad things have been today. I didn't even notice how high I left the music. Normally I have it down at this level. Probably made it a little bit harder to hear me. So you just started watching Golden Kamuy today. That's pretty good. Nice. I'm trying to get into more stuff. Most of the stuff I've been watching over here, we finished last episode of Ranma 1/2 for the season. Just ended. Enjoyed it a lot, though I'm still upset that they decided to run the season the way they did. I think I talked about that last time, where they completely took stuff out of this season to be able to fit other things in, and they're moving it to next season. It's like, well, if you're going to do it anyway, why couldn't you just do it in order? Do you think you know better than Rumiko Takahashi about the order in which this series should be done? I don't think so. She's the one who wrote it. Other than that, though, I've enjoyed that a lot. We're getting into Gachicuda. I think we're still in the first core, but I think we're almost done with the first core. I can't wait to get to the second core, since I think the opening was actually done by the HoloLive streamer Calliope Mori, or was it the opening or the ending? One of them was done by her, and that's pretty cool. But aside from that, I mean, the series itself is really fun, so I'm just enjoying that anyway. But a lot of people are doing Christmas specials. Even, what's it called? Space King. Space King did a Christmas special, too. I think slightly shorter than normal, but still roughly, I think it was like a full-length episode. And it was a parody of a parody, I guess, right? Because Space King's already kind of a parody of Warhammer 40k, but they decided to retell Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer through their parody of Warhammer 40k. It's several layers deep. It's like a cake of meta jokes, but it's really good. I enjoyed that one a lot. I like seeing all of these indie animators getting into the season festively, timing their next release to be Christmas specials, because everyone knows if you have to do a filler, the coolest fillers are the holiday specials. They're some of the ones that you remember the most because you're like, hey, this wasn't in the manga or this wasn't in the source material or whatever, but it's Christmas, so let's have fun because we could just replay this special every year on Christmas. I haven't watched them yet. Maybe I'll run them Christmas Eve. We're not doing a show on Christmas, by the way. I hope people know that. Either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, where I'm not running a show. Maybe, instead, I'll go run the 2 Ranma Christmas specials in our Discord on Christmas. If anybody wants to watch that, I'm going to be watching it anyway, so I don't really even care if I'm sitting there by myself watching it, but I'll probably run it. But it's really cool. I love Christmas specials. I like any holiday special. I think we need more from other stuff too, because how many Thanksgiving specials are there other than it's Thanksgiving Charlie Brown or whatever it's called, right? Or there's the Halloween, it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. There's not a lot for these other holidays. There's a lot for Halloween, actually. You can watch a lot of stuff on Halloween. There's almost no end to things you can watch on Halloween. But you don't really have a lot for Thanksgiving. What are you going to do? Watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on Thanksgiving? Good movie, but you'll get tired of that after doing it every year in a row. How many Easter movies are there? Or whatever holidays you personally celebrate. There just aren't enough specials out there. It's all centered on one or two holidays. I think we need to diversify our spread more, just so we have an excuse to rewatch things every single year. And have a good rotation between them too. Be like, oh, we haven't watched that one in 3 years. We should move that one into the rotation now. Whatever it is. I love Christmas. I think we've given a little too much love to Christmas. But I will never say an indie creator will spend too much love on Christmas. Because if you're a new creator, I can't fault you. Or maybe you're not new, but you're new to like making a series or something. I can't fault you for wanting to take part in the tradition of making a special for the big holidays. It'd be cooler if you made one for a smaller holiday, one that doesn't get as much love, but I can't fault you because who doesn't want to take part in a tradition the first chance they get? You see everybody else doing it. You grew up watching these things. You know that like maybe your favorite animators got to do this. You're like, man, I want to do this someday. And then you finally get to. That's cool. Like that is really cool for you to finally be able to do the thing that you've been wanting to do forever. One year, I swear it will happen, even though I've been saying this for like the last 10 years. One year, I will make my holiday album. It will happen. I could do it any year. I really don't want to do it by myself, though, because it's something that me and my brother promised we were going to do, is that we were just going to make a Christmas album, or holiday in general. Maybe we'd mix in a few other things, too. So it would feel kind of wrong for me to hop on and just start recording vocals and then like maybe synthesizing the backing tracks without my brother, because it's something that we promised we were going to do together. But if he waits too long, like it's already been over a decade, I may just eventually do it without him. I remember actually back in college, we put a lot of effort into it and then just dropped it, like many of the things that I did back in college. But Eno, my original co-host, who might actually be coming back to the show, not the main show, but we might be doing another program periodically with him. I've been talking to him about it. But Eno and I started arranging a holiday album. There was going to be a mix of covers of classics and some new stuff that we were writing, including we were going to make a rap about the three wise men. The three magi. That we were going to go off into West Texas to film it too. And I think only two of them were going to be singing, because we were just going to have our buddy Kyle dressed up behind us as the third one. He was just going to pose and stuff the whole time. It was going to be a funny music video. And we just never got around to doing any of this stuff. We did all this planning and preparation. We just never got around to doing it. Are you weird for not wanting to celebrate Christmas? No. I don't know. I think I would be weird for not wanting to celebrate Christmas, but Christmas is my culture. So, not that it's wrong to be weird either. Right? Sometimes stating that something's weird is just a fact. But all weird means is it's not the norm. Not the average. I'm weird about a lot of things. I take pride in that. Not because it's different, because it's me. I take equal amount of pride in the stuff that I'm not weird, because it's still me at the end of the day. Let's see. Kev had a massive Warhammer 40k game over the weekend. Hatred of Eldar grew 3 times that way. I guess it's like how the Grinch lost 40k, I'm guessing. Yeah. I have never played a match of Warhammer. I've watched people play. Quite often, actually. I knew several people who played frequently, but never participated myself. And I think part of it, too, is that, like, I just don't want to spend money on that stuff. I started setting up to play, like, on Roll20, where I wouldn't have to spend the money on anything. You know, we just add our own assets and everything. But it was one of those things that just fell apart before it ever actually happened. I think the main thing, too, is, like, I was interested in the Sisters of Battle very, very early on. But the problem was they didn't have cheap versions of their models, right? They only had the really expensive ones. It's one of those, like, series that wasn't popular enough for them to justify having plastic models. You could only get the more expensive die-cast metal ones. And that bummed me out and kind of kept me out of getting into it. I really like the war, though, and it's fun to watch. I love war games. War games are cool because unlike other forms of tabletop, it can be boring to be an observer if you're, not invested into it. I think sometimes if you live stream something like a campaign of something that's more of like a role-playing game, the audience can get invested into it. But I think it's really hard to enjoy something if you don't have personal investment. War games, on the other hand, though, those can be really, really fun to watch without any personal investment at all. It's almost like watching a sport. I think that's one of the cool parts about it. See, mostly 3D print all your models. Games Workshop prices are way too expensive. Yeah. Games Workshop price out a lot of their potential customers. I think that's probably why they got into the plastic models in the first place, though. But for a lot of people, they're still too expensive. Inflation just keeps driving them up and up. Every time I think I've got enough to finally get into it, it's like the prices went up and I just lose interest. I'd rather just watch people play. So, because I came here to mostly talk about holiday specials. Yeah, the idea came to me because I was watching Punch Punch Forever the other day, which is a great special. Great special. It's one of the classic ones where Santa is having trouble, and you need to help Santa deliver all the gifts so he can get back on his way. Can't go wrong with that type of plot. But I wanted to talk about some of my other favorite specials. And some of the more classics. Because we've all seen, I think most people have seen the Rankin Bass holiday specials from back in the day. The little stop-motion puppetry. A lot of people always call them claymation, but they're not really claymation. Sometimes there's clay involved, but most of it are like dolls and puppets. All pre-made figures, some of them joints. You change out faces, things like that. They're not actually pushing around clay, which is easier. It's way easier to put things down and work on it again when you have all these pre-made figures. It's hard to get the clay right back into the shape where you left it off if you have to film across multiple days. I think my favorite one ever, usually we'll do like a back-to-back. I think we didn't do any last year because last year it just wasn't in a convenient location for running anything. But the year before that, we did a double feature of Santa Claus is Coming to Town and The Year Without a Santa Claus, which are my two personal favorites. I don't care so much for Frosty and Rudolph. I don't dislike them at all. But I don't care so much for them because they're expanded stories that existed purely from a song beforehand. These songs were created because they're just trying to, you know, make more money during the holiday season. So let's go just write some songs about stuff that have almost nothing to do with anything. At least Rudolph is connected to Santa. There's that. Frosty, it's just like, it's winter. He could exist in the winter. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It doesn't have to be anything. And they're fun songs, but the specials don't really do anything for me. Other than the fact that probably the best Christmas character ever exists inside Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and that's Yukon Cornelius. No Christmas character is as cool as Yukon Cornelius, no matter how hard you try. Except maybe Santa himself. Santa's pretty cool. But aside from that, it's Yukon Cornelius. This jacked dude, Bumble. It's important that he's a Bumble. He points that out several times. Who's off the mining silver and gold, but he's also trying to... He captures a Yeti, the abominable snowman, at some point. And you think he died, but he's like, no, dude, Bumbles bounce. Like, what does that even mean? You're made of rubber? You just bounce? Like... You would elaborate on what it means that Bumbles bounce? Cool character. I love Yukon Cornelius. But aside from him, I don't really care for the special. What's his name? Hermie, the elf. Not a cool character. Kind of just annoying. Island of Misfit Toys. I mean, the principle's cool. The whole idea that these toys shouldn't just be rejected because they're a little off is cool, but the actual island itself is lame. Their winged lion king is the only cool thing about the island. It's not very good. Frosty, same time, You don't really feel bad when he melts at the end. Even the first time before I knew that he was coming back. I think it's just a snowman. Sure, he's a living snowman, but he's functionally a golem. You know, you don't... I guess if a golem was sapient, he was your friend, you would feel kind of bad if the golem just started falling apart all of a sudden, but... It's not like the equivalent of the other kids running around. I don't feel as sad. There's like a slight amount of disconnection there for me. But Santa Claus is coming to town. That's basically like an old vigilante pulp story when you think about it, right? It's very, very like low street level. Santa's just trying to affect this one village, almost like a cat burglar, doing acrobats, going up and down houses and escaping the guard of the town for the Meister Burger. Like that's good. That's really good writing. It's fun. I always found that one engaging because of that. You get attached to Santa himself. He's a cool character. Have I ever watched Santa and the Three Bears? No, I can't say I have. Maybe I have when I was like, if it's old, young, and so young I don't remember it, but I cannot say that I've ever watched Santa and the Three Bears. It sounds like you're just putting Santa Claus in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and if that was a parody, that could be hilarious, but as like a straight story, that sounds pretty lame. It sounds almost like a Robot Chicken sketch, where it's like, okay, we're gonna take a story everybody knows, but we're gonna put a different character in there. Like, I don't know, Goku and the Three Bears. That'd be a funny story. Actually, speaking about that too, I think one of my favorite Christmas specials is a single sketch from Robot Chicken. And it's Goku Saves Christmas. I'm not going to put it on the same level as, like, the Rankin Bass stuff, like, at all. There's so much more care. So much more, like better writing to it and everything. But Goku Saves Christmas is hilarious. Because it's just Goku and Gohan. And Santa's like, I need your help to take the North Pole back. And they show up, and there's 3 villains for them to fight. And it's a bunch of really stupid jokes. And I love it. I love it precisely because it's stupid. It's just like how I was talking about Punch Punch Forever earlier. The Punch Punch Forever is really stupid. Intentionally. And I love it because it's stupid. I need more stupid things in my life. I really, really enjoy, like, very genuine, sincere, stupid comedy. I think it's some of my favorite stuff. Man. Trying to think of other specials. Santa and the Three Bears originally came out in 1970 and had a similar premise to Yogi's First Christmas, with a family of bears delaying their hibernation to learn about Christmas. Well, that already sounds like better than Yogi's First Christmas, even though there's similarities to it. But that's because Yogi's First Christmas is awful, and the bar is in hell there. It's probably one of the worst Yogi Bear things I've ever seen. You know, actually, I like the Yogi Bear cartoon. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Yogi specials, but I can't think of a lot of Yogi things I like outside of the original cartoon. Like, what was the arc or whatever? I can't remember the name. It was like the Hanna-Barbera's, like, Flying Circus or whatever. But it was the where Yogi Bear went around with everyone. I thought that was awful. They used to come on all the time when I was a kid. Like, this is just awful. What is this thing? Just put on normal Yogi Bear. I'd rather watch that. Messing around with the Ranger. I actually dislike most, I think, of the Hanna-Barbera Christmas specials. Just cough so hard you vomited? I'm sorry, Fly Fox, bro. Yogi's Ark, thank you. I could not remember the name of it. It was like mixing it together with Monty Python's Flying Circus. I dislike most of the Hanna-Barbera Christmas stuff. Because a lot of it just doesn't feel like it belongs. At least Yogi existed in a time where Christmas already existed. The one that bothers me the most is the Flintstones Christmas specials. Because Christmas isn't a thing yet. In this weird time that the Flintstones exist in, where somehow people and dinosaurs and mammoths and stuff all exist at the same time. Well, technically people and dinosaurs did exist at the same time, but only avian dinosaurs, like the ones that we know now. Birds. But it's like this like weird Santa's already exists. They're looking forward to Christ like Abraham. Sure, but that doesn't even come up like in it at all. It's all about the modern, more like secularized version of Christmas, other than there's some holiday cheer to it, right? But they don't really go into like the meaning of Christmas and everything. It's just Santa. I'm like, why is Santa there? Why does Santa exist at the same time as the Flintstones? Saint Nick wouldn't have been born yet. What's going on here? It bothered me even as a little kid before I knew half of this stuff. Oh, Mike's in the chat. I hope you're coming on to try to correct me about things so that I can yell at you at the same time. I think because I'm not backing down on any of this stuff. These specials are awful. Yeah. Oh, I hate it. The dialogue is awful. And it feels out of character for Yogi and all of them. Yeah, yeah, I never liked it. Yeah, all these things I'm saying about Hanna-Barbera, like Christmas specials, I mean, not like him, these aren't new feelings. I've felt this way since I saw them when I was a kid. Mm-mm. I'm like, no, I'd rather just watch the regular Yogi Bear stuff. The one that played the most is the one where, like, Barney and Fred go to Santa's workshop. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. Is this the one where that takes place in the future with Pebbles and Bam Bam, and it's when Pebbles is delivering her baby? Because that one always aired around Christmas time too. Okay. Okay, that one almost never played. I don't even know if I've seen that one. Instead, the one that ended up usually playing. Yeah, well, when I was growing up, it almost never played. Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad adaptation of it. It's just it still has that problem of why are they adapting the Christmas Carol? It hasn't been written yet. This has been my big problem with the Flintstones all the time. Well, that's mostly what the Flintstones are, right? In general, like everything is it's a Stone Age parody of stuff. And for the most part, I'm fine with that, right? Like they have their own parody of like the Beatles, they have their parody of everything of if this thing existed in the Stone Age. It does kind of cross past my suspension of disbelief though when you add things like Christmas and stuff back then. Yes. I don't buy that. I have a more literal reading that as a modern Stone Age family is that they're talking about the parody nature of the show. So they're a Stone Age family, but they have all the modern commodities that we have. Like they have appliances and stuff. Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's already a parody of the Honeymooners. Yeah. Yeah. And like I'm fine with most things until we get to something like Christmas. Like that just bothers me. Like it just doesn't work. There's certain walls that it hit where the parody just doesn't work. And to me, Christmas is one of them. Let me think about that a little harder. It's not great, but I guess like if I took that away, it's not horrible at the same time. I mean, even as far as like other contemporary specials, it's mid, you know? Like it's fine to put on TV, pass the time. It's not as good as the base show. I would probably like it more than Yogi's First Christmas. But I think one of the main things about that too is because they're original characters, I don't have to worry about anybody acting out of character at all. So there's already that advantage for it. But I don't know. I've probably seen it before. And because the plot is so similar to Yogi's First Christmas, in my memory, I've probably just lumped these two things together. Okay, well, Mike, I'm gonna have to cut you off on that because we don't. We already covered the things that came on for. I don't need to be jumping down endless tangents on it. Yeah, yeah. 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 Fly Fox is like, maybe the Jetsons brought it back when they went back in time with them. That would be an interesting thread if there was any actual connection to it, but there's not. I mean, they had so many other properties that it would have worked more with, right? Like, I mean, they did a lot with Scooby-Doo as it was, but any of their more, obviously would have come later, right? Because Flintstones is a lot earlier stuff. But they had so many other properties throughout the years that Christmas would have worked better with those contemporary properties. And all we ever saw was, or I saw, were reruns of the stuff where it just didn't feel like it worked as well. I remember that one, yeah. It's also the 50-ish minutes that I normally do. So that's all. We also hit the time. I had a little kerfuffle earlier where I had to start a new stream or whatever, but I've hit the 50-ish minutes of recording that I normally do. So thanks for coming on and chatting for a little bit, and thanks everybody else who are watching, whether it's watching now or later in the future. But we're going to go to the short outro stream, and I will be doing one tomorrow, assuming everything wants to cooperate with me. But we will not be having a stream on either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So I'll see you guys again after that, if that's the case.